Manchester United 1, Wolves 0, or Wolves 0, Manchester United 1, depending how you want to look at it. But we end New Year's, we end 2022, we're on New Year's Eve. We end it with 3 points and a victory, Marcel. What did you make of today's game?
Happy. Very, very happy about that. Had to fight for it, had to suffer. But that's just part of the process of winning games at the club right now within the situation that we're in. This game in particular, obviously, a game of two halves, you could say. If you look at the first half, we played well. I honestly think we played well, and we had good spells, domination in the final third as well. Just no execution. There's that critical moment of scoring goals when you need to score them. Anthony had a chance. Marcel had a header that he's mistimed. Garnacho had a chance that from off Semedo's poor back pass. And you're looking at that and you think, okay, well, first half could have had two there. There was moments in the first half where we have all 11 or 10 players in their half really dominating, and you've got the structure of Casemiro holding the defensive line or the midfield line, sorry, and you've got Eriksen and Bruno going out there to try and find spaces. The right flank was very strong. Wan-Bissaka, involving himself in a very impactful way in the first half, I think, and we just needed that end product. A lot of the time, and the ball got to Anthony, and it wasn't clicking, it wasn't working, and we were suffering in that sense. And you look at it and think, well, Wolves could come into the second half and cause us a big issue, and maybe we concede and we drop off and we tail off from there. Second half comes in and we didn't even start well, even though you looked up at Rashford on, who you think has been on fire, will score goals for you. He just didn't hit the ground running, and it was a bit peculiar. And we said it as well when we was watching in our watch along today. We said it, look, we need to hit the ground running in the second half, otherwise we could be in trouble. It just looked like a completely different Man United the second half, if I'm honest with you, and no real spells of good domination, possession, and keeping the ball. It's a bit weird even to have it De Gea in the first half. I think his passing range was good, but then in the second half, losing the ball one or two times. But then he makes an important save towards the end of the game that keeps you in the game. And you need that from him. Even a free kick as well from Neves. He makes a fantastic save as well there. So he had key moments. He's a big reason to why we get this 3 points. But then on the other side of the pitch, Rashford has a little moment where he comes alive, and it was a moments game in the second half for us. I think we were patient and precise in the first half, but in the second half, the other side of two halves, we're just playing in moments, but a big moment. Rashford shrugs off the defender, 1-2 with Bruno, who's played so well with for so long. But good technique for that and a good finish. Anthony, again, had big moments, and all the moments we were saying, I think you even said it, Owen, he had all the moments. Again, he had about 4 or 5 moments, still couldn't score, still couldn't find the net. Bruno was becoming wayward at times as well in the second half, and some quality outside of the foot passes from that left side position as well. But Ten Hag had to make changes, that he needed more legs. Fred needed to come on and produce legs. Eriksen was a bit tailing off in that second half because, we were just becoming extremely combative. It was becoming an extremely combative game, and happy to see the overall look of the team.
Is that the difference between this season and last season then? Whereas actually last season, chances are we'd have probably lost or drawn that game. Had opportunities in the first half, doesn't work out. Second half, you don't play well. We'd have backed off. They'd have probably ended up scoring. But today, that didn't happen. You do have us keep fighting to the end. It's not the first time we've scored a late goal this season to win the game. Away from home, they have been challenging. Is that the difference? And it's really, yes, we can talk about Rashford and we'll talk about him in a second, being the actual difference on the score sheet today, but is really truly the difference the manager in Erik Ten Hag.
Yeah, perfectly said, bro. It's a thing where it's Ten Hagology. He's come in now and he's just set the mindset for everyone. He's just set the shape for everyone. And you're right. I think we even did. I think we might have lost that game or last season. I'm not sure, but that was a bogey team for us, and we were saying that as well today. We need to 1-0, a scrappy 1-0. It just shows the attitude, and it brings us into that top 4 area around the champions, around the best teams in the league. And you need that. Ten Hag's been setting the precedent. Listen, Rashford's been fantastic the last couple of games, but you got disciplinary issues. That's it. You're not playing this. It's very simple. You have to have the right mentality to play here, and you have to have the right attitude and application. Ronaldo's gone through it. Garnacho's gone through it. Maguire hasn't been playing to the level. He comes off. So Ten Hag's been doing all the right things, and I 100% agree with you. And I'm just so happy that it's a scrappy 1-0, but it's a 1-0. I believed we was going to win this game, and we come out of here, Ten Hag smiling. the team smiling and happy, and was 3 points, fourth place in the new year, going into the new year, bro.
Going into the new year in the top 4 as well, first time since March. Let's talk about Rashford then, because obviously he's the difference, as you touched on. Didn't start today. Internal disciplinary issue was what Ten Hag said before the game. It also was reported during the game that it's not a big deal. The player, the manager, the club, they're not worried or anything like that. Let's talk about his performances though recently. I mean, how much credit has to go to him and Ten Hag for how he's managed just to completely rejuvenate himself?
One of the first interviews Ten Hag had, if I can remember, I think around pre-season or the beginning of the season, was with Marcus Rashford, just talking about how we want this to be the guy. He is the guy. He's wearing the number 10 on his back. He's had poor performances last season, but we got to change and get something out of him. Seeing all the pictures and that in pre-season, him doing his extra work, and it's paying dividends now, man. And that's just beautiful to see. I said it last season when we was down. I like to see players play out of form. And he's been playing out of form, and now he's in good form and he's scoring. He's speaking to the Burnley game, he's speaking to the Forest game, and we're seeing him drive with the ball from the halfway line and stuff like that. Okay, he didn't play brilliant today. There was times where he wasn't great, but goals win football matches, goals win games, and he was able to brush off a defender. I think it was Johnny, and then put it through the goalkeeper's legs and score. And he nearly had another chance. Similar to situation like happened in Everton, where it was a handball situation, but he would have had 2 today. I think he's definitely just come leaps and bounds in terms of how he's applying himself, his mentality, his attitude, and he's loving his football.
Talk to me about Anthony as well. So on one side, you've got Rashford. The other side, you've got Anthony. I think going into the game, there was this feeling of maybe a bit more scrutiny coming onto him at the moment. What did you make of his performance today?
He's a niche player, I would like to say. Ten Hag's obviously believed in him, knows what he brings to a team, and believes in his quality as well, alongside Rashford, and just overall belief for the team. I think he comes in against Arsenal doing well, and I think maybe because he started the level so high and we've been so excited, so refreshing by his exuberance, the way he expresses himself on the pitch. It's, when there's these performances like today and like against Forest, where it's just very dull, we have to remember it's maybe his 10th game or so starting for Manchester United Football Club. Today was underwhelming again. It was underwhelming again. End product is everything. And yes, you're getting in the right positions. Yes, you're picking up the ball and finding the right areas. You're in a Ten Hag system. You should know where the ball lies. You should know where the ball will fall. You should know where to be at and when to be there. I think proactive footballer as well, contributes defensively, aggressive, very skillful, but it's just that end product is extremely underwhelming right now. And, had 2 key chances in the first half and across a shotgun block, and, he's just not hitting the ground like we'd like him to. Even against Forest, had a clear-cut chance. Bruno puts him through for an easy finish. He's just got to score goals is what you need to add to your game now, Anthony. But the rest of his game's quite good.
Just to end on a positive note as well, I can see a stat in front of me that says Man United have won 5 consecutive matches for the first time since April 2021. Does that say we're heading in the right direction, Marcel?
Yes, 100%, 100,000%. And the top teams are winning 10 games in a row, 11, 12, but you've got to do it in steps. 5, then 10, then 15, and we're showing the right kind of culture and understanding within the club, and Ten Hag's bringing that, man. It's Ten Hag magic, it's Ten Hag genius, and 5 wins. We've got a couple more. There's points to be won, Owen. We've got a couple more games. Obviously, there's the cup games, but points to be won, and hopefully we just lead up to this good habits of winning more football matches, because we've got big games coming at the end of the month.
Ten Hag magic. There you go. Wolves 0, Manchester United 1. A happy new year indeed.